Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's another beautiful day for a Pirate Broadcast. Interesting people doing interesting things. And what I love about it is the community. And, you know, it's interesting because we find out we have connections and we pull a thread and we know somebody else, or we meet somebody in the pirate community. So join in, make some comments, meet some people, make some connections. And today we have Coach K. Herb, are you in the house today? How are you doing, man?
Hey, Russ, I'm doing good. I'm in the house. I would say I'm on the boat if we're being true pirates. I'm on board. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I appreciate you being here. We had a missed opportunity, and apparently the missed opportunity for us connecting, you actually ended up meeting somebody else. And tell us about that story, because I thought it was fascinating. So
Actually it's a, kind of like what you and I were talking about. It's like, what's it, mindset.
Yeah.
So I, in my scrambled little brain, thought that I was on your broadcast back in July. And of course the day goes up and I'm all ready, got my hair combed, and I'm going to be on your broadcast. And there's like, hey, where's the link? Where's the special notice? And so I tuned in, thinking like maybe you'll tune me in somehow. And there's Tisha Marie Pelletier. And I watched, I listened, I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. And I liked what you were saying. And eventually we went on to connect on LinkedIn and trade messages back and forth. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. Something went whoop. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of the Pirate Broadcast is there's no preconceived notion about what questions I'm going to ask, what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. There's been a few times the process to sign on. I made it pretty simple. It is pretty, but sometimes technology doesn't always finish off like we like it to. But I'm glad you made it, and thank you for being here. And Tisha is an amazing individual. And then we also found out that we know we have a mutual friend, Frank Bedani. So Frank out there, hello, how are you doing today? Give a shout out to Frank. Mm-hmm. And he's part of your coaching program, as I understand it. Or will be. Are you in the same program or?
We share a coaching program through this group called SEALFIT, which is run by retired Navy SEAL Mark Devine. Uh-huh. Frank is doing the SEALFIT training part. I was in SEALFIT, and then I took the coaching program for the mindset training. They're a little bit different. They're, it's like in the same house, but they're, two different rooms. And so that's how we kind of link up together. Frank's a very interesting character, very nice guy.
He's up in Seattle, up in the Northwest area.
Seattle. Yeah, and the last time we talked, he's over on the eastern side and renovating his cabins. Nice. What's that? Eastern Washington, whatever that little canyon is over there, right by the Canadian border. Sounds like the perfect place to go play and hang out. And you got mountains, you got cold water, you got forest galore.
Oh, it's beautiful country up there. It's beautiful country. Yeah, I used to be out on the peninsula there and have llamas and horses and raise pork and poultry and eggs and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Back in another chapter in the book of life, right?
All right, another chapter of your life, and your other life, as I would say, your other life.
My other life.
And at that point, you thought living by the water and the big green trees is like, wow. And now you're in the desert, right? There's hardly any green trees, and it's still cool, I mean, I think I've gone through your thing of living on sailboats And now, I've lived in the desert by Phoenix as well. And
Okay.
those purple mountains when it gets sunset? Yeah. Mhm.
It's really nice to see the diversity, because before this I was in Houston with the
Oh, yeah.
humidity,
Yeah.
so different environments, different mountains, and I've lived in different parts of the country, in Utah, Wyoming, where the mountains are, skiing, uh,
Okay.
you know, and I think, and it ties into something you're doing, and I want to talk about a little bit, is mindset. We're talking about mindset as parents in advance of the show, and some of these things that are going on around us right now today are incredibly dependent on a positive mindset and looking at things from a different perspective. So in your coaching and you're assisting other people in the community,
Mhm.
how do you approach it? How do you think about it? Because you've had different environments, you've had different
Right.
circumstances. Talk a little bit about the mindset of being in different circumstances and surviving that or thriving through that.
Okay. Right. So there's a huge difference there. There are two words, thriving and surviving. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna come out on the other side. And kind of looking at Tisha's broadcast then. If I was my old lifestyle, I would have looked at the missed broadcast with you and said, right? And slammed the computer, walked away, never talked to Russ Johns ever again. Right? God damn it.
Yeah.
But instead, with a different mindset, I made a friend with Tisha. I actually made friends with Frank now.
Yeah.
I'm here talking to you, having a good time. So that the same event, depending on your mindset, that shapes how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you know that. We could bring up your story of your fight with gravity a long time.
Oh yeah, my battle with gravity.
Your battle with
First
gravity.
First it was my arm,
Yeah.
And then now it's my hip.
Now it's your hip.
A little older, and
But and when Frank and I were talking about this is mindset, that the average person could have had his fight with gravity, broken their arm, got laid off of work, and just said right, F it, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take my disability check. I can go get drunk every night, and my life is terrible because I fell and broke my arm. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The world crippled me.
Right.
Or you could take your mindset and say, yeah, this happened. Not the best thing, but now I can learn how to do something else, and then I can learn to do something else, and I can move on and move on.
Yeah.
Same event, but you have two different mindsets and how that plays out, right?
Completely different scenario.
Completely different. One guy kind of survives, and the other one thrives. So how you use your mindset for each of those events determines how you're going to come out of that event. And so, same thing with COVID or with the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
You could sit this at the time of oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. It's so scary. And we would say in the SEAL world is like VUCA. There's a lot of volatility, uncertainty. You never know what's going on. You know this, Arizona.
Yeah.
I think you're tied with Florida for a number of hotspots. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get more hotspots. We're gonna push.
We're gonna push.
We're gonna push. We're gonna open up some bars again or something. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and you mentioned earlier that your previous mindset would have just said, "Hey, screw this, I'm out of here."
Right.
So what triggered the change for you though? What was it that changed?
The change was going through the camp with the Unbeatable Mind program with Mark Devon.
Okay.
And here's my famous, hopefully I have 2 more minutes to talk. My
You
famous
have
water.
plenty of time.
Okay, I'll talk slow. I'm a southern boy. I'll slip into my southern talk. So,
You keep your own
so
pace.
it's what I call the water heater story. So I'm training for this camp to go because you have to go. Part of the camp is you go to this boot camp thing.
Uh-huh.
And I was a good athlete. I'm a runner, a marathon runner. So I'll run 50 miles. Do 10 push-ups? Not really. Not my thing. I'm a runner.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Navy SEALs. What do? Lots of push-ups, lots of pull-ups.
Lots
So
of
I'm
push-ups.
lots of push-ups. Right? And burpees. God loves a good burpee. All right?
Nothing like a good burpee.
Nothing like
to
a
get
good
your day
burpee to
started.
start your day. Amen. So I'm training, and you know this as a parent. I'm training, so all right, I gotta get up and train, but I got a job, and I've got the kids at home, so I can't train during the day, and I don't want to train at night. I could, and say, "Daddy's going out. You guys have dinner. Go to bed. I'll be back."
Yeah.
But I wait till they go to sleep, or I did the other thing of get up at 4:30 in the morning to go outside and train.
Yeah.
That alone was a big shift for me. Like thinking, wait, other people go before my stuff, right? Ding. Shift number one. Shift number two was that day I'm going out to train, and we had this little patio, like most houses, and I saw wet, and then I said, kind of odd. So I opened the laundry door where I hang up the little chin-up bar, and it's wet, all wet. And then you hear that famous noise, that little noise like, psh, and it's like, right? Broken water, something. And we're like, oh, the water heater's broken. So I said, okay. Do that little breath training, go in the house, get a flashlight, look around, find the little valve, turn it off. And then, of course, I don't know about you, but our washroom has all these boxes where every human stores crap that they don't need anymore, but you still keep it, right?
Yeah.
And so I take all the boxes out to a dry place, get the broom, clean it all up, and then find a broom. And I say, okay, hey, I still got 15 minutes to work out before I have to go take a shower and make breakfast for the family. All right, get a little workout in. Okay, and then wife wakes up, oh, honey, no laundry today. Water heater's broken. Don't worry, I'll call the landlord. I'll take care of it. Got it. Okay. I thought, and at that moment, my light bulb went off. And I said, ding. In my old life, number one, I wouldn't be up at 4:30.
Right.
I would have said, I'm doing my crap. You guys, I don't care what happens. I've got the paycheck. I'm coming home, whatever. And number two, if I would have saw that broken water heater, there would have been a lot of bad words coming out of my mouth. Right? My landlord would have got a call at 4:30 a.m. Not his day would have been ruined. Right? I probably would have thrown a bunch of boxes, And then if I met you, your day would have been ruined because I would have told you about the whole story and how terrible it is, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so that's when I realized that training for this other thing carries over to your real life.
Yeah.
So I thought, this is pretty cool. Bingo. It's kind of like bingo. So that made me a real believer that mindset training, even though it's technically for something bigger, you can apply it to your parenting, you can apply it to your relationships, all those little things, stuff like that. So that was my big story.
I want to give a shout out to some of the people here. I don't know if you know Gabriel or not. Gabriel, good morning, gentlemen and fellow pirates. Gabriel's on this week as well. He's going to be on the show. He runs Made from Scratch. He does a show every night. I start the morning. Gabriel ends the day. So he's an awesome individual that you should probably connect with. LinkedIn is delaying live stream. Actually, I got a message on StreamYard that LinkedIn had disconnected, and that's when I dropped off earlier. I attempting to reconnect it. However, it's not. So it's not streaming to LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no way of telling. And so Angie, awesome as she is, she said she put the Twitter link on LinkedIn. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then, so Gabriel said, LinkedIn is delaying live stream. Okay. And then Angie said, aloha. So thank you for being here, Angie. Appreciate that. LinkedIn dropped the connection for the pirate broadcast. So LinkedIn dropped the connection. So yeah, I'm trying to get the word out. So, and she says, nice. So, and so I want to go back. I just wanted to give that announcement out in case people are watching and had failed to connect on LinkedIn. So if you're delayed or you're watching it, I apologize. I'll look at it when I get off the show.
Okay.
And so, Coach, I want to talk about how people can think about this transition that you went through, how they went through, how you processed it in your head. I mean, you experienced it. You're seeing the difference in what the outcome is. A lot of us are outcome based. And so when you can see that kind of outcome, what is it how do you transfer that feeling, that emotion, that epiphany to other people in your coaching practice? How can you change that and adjust that mindset in other people?
Yeah, good question, Frank. So, Russ, part of it is what I would say you go through a certain amount of steps. Right? If you want to be a surfer, you go through certain steps of, learn how to paddle. First, you learn what's a surfboard, what side you lay on, all those things. And there's certain steps. And to get to the mindset, epiphany is, I would say you go through these little steps and habit changes. And then, because like for my epiphany, I could tell you that at the moment or before that story, I was not really aware that I'm having these like big changes. It's not like, pow.
It's not like you woke up one day and you were 2 inches taller, right?
Right, or I'm levitating in midair or something, And what do you call, like in the movies, the angels are going, So
not that way.
Not that way, unfortunately. But these little changes, kind of just like, changing your diet, getting in shape, they all add up bit by bit by bit until all of a sudden one day you look in the mirror and you say like, wow, what happened? Right?
Yeah. So it's more looking back than looking forward. I mean, you're practicing. Like I say, life is like an instrument. You have to practice it, right?
Right.
Depending on what music you want to play will determine what you practice.
Correct. Right. And so, yeah, exactly. So as you practice some of these skills and you practice them consistently day after day after day, then it becomes part of your routine and it's no longer a practice. Say like we do these special breathing exercises to stay calm. And in the beginning, like, you have to go sit quietly for 10, 15 minutes and it's almost like meditating. But now it gets to the point that I can, like I had an incident the other day of, run into somebody who's in a very bad mood and just take, and okay, got this. I can deal with this, whatever it is. It's not like Clark Kent, like, hey, let me dash off to that phone booth and meditate for 20 minutes and I'll be back.
Right.
You can start to do it on the spot with a little bit of practice. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Well, I know in SEAL training, in a lot of the military disciplines, breathing is an important part of focus and, being able to maintain a sense of calm. Just like practice of breathing. And are you familiar with Wim Hof?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That interesting character, because part of training with the SEALs is, of course, ice bathing.
Uh-huh.
So, being a Florida boy, I hated the ice bath.
Yeah.
And then after my experience, I said, okay, I'm not going to let that bother me again. So I studied the Wim Hof stuff, and I learned to sit in ice baths for, a long time. And then, I wouldn't say I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But come to realize, this is actually a useful tool. But Wim Hof is, like you say, a lot of breathing, and it's a lot of mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Wim Hof is quite the character, but I think he's onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree
Well,
with you. Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
amazing to watch some of the results that he's had with some of the teachings and some of the classes and some of his students in his courses. And there's people that swear by it, and I haven't had that experience yet. However, the conversation of breathing comes up and mindset and things like
Right.
that. He's the first one that came up to mind in my mind as far as that discipline of breathing. So, and yeah, the ice baths that's another dimension of the thing too.
That is a whole nother dimension. But there was one point I remember, like if I was having a really hectic day or stressful day,
Uh-huh.
going to sit in the ice bath would actually be calming.
Mm.
And I don't know what that is, because your breathing changes, your metabolism changes. But you would come out of the ice bath and think, like, okay,
Yeah.
got this. So yeah, it's interesting. But the breathing part does change your physiology, your nervous system, and from what the research shows, you can actually change your brain to like an alpha rhythm, which is
Mm-hmm.
usually calmer, more creative.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
More
And
focused.
it's more
Yeah.
focused, and it's so simple. And
Yeah.
you really don't have to go to a monastery and sit for 20 years to be able to do it.
You don't have to live in a cave for 5
You
years.
don't have to live in a
Practice.
cave. You can do it at home. And
Although these days, maybe living in a cave might be okay. I don't
it
know.
might not be so bad. Yeah, you're not gonna. You'll be socially distant, and you won't have to wear your mask.
Wouldn't have to worry about a few things.
Yeah,
So,
you wouldn't have,
so how do you approach the breathing part? Running for me, I've never mastered the discipline of running. I used to ski heavily, and my knees are like not the greatest shape. And biking, I enjoy cycling more, much more than running. It is more time consuming. A friend of mine
right.
goes, I can run 5 miles and burn more calories than you can, you can bike in the same amount of time. It's
Right.
like, yeah, that's true. I said, I know what I enjoy though. He goes, well, I don't run to enjoy it. I run to stay in shape. And it's like, okay, I bike to enjoy it. So it's like, well, how do you walk through that when you're coaching clients and people that you talk to, engage with? Because it's different people run for different reasons, and some people run because they have to, right?
Right. If you're out hiking in the outback, and you all of a sudden hear that grumble noise, you better start running very fast. But definitely, I run it. For me, it actually became my meditation. I mean, I could have something going on at work or a relationship, something. I go out for a 20-mile run, and then by the time I come home, it's all cleared out. It's flushed out. And I used to joke that if I ever become blissfully happy, I'll quit running, because I won't need to go run anymore. So I run. I find it enjoyable. I look at running because my thing is biomechanics. So when I'm running, I'm actually paying attention to what's happening with my leg, my shoulders, how is my foot sounding? That's why I don't wear earbuds when I run.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like a race car driver. When he's driving, he's paying attention to what his car is doing. Right? And so that's kind of what I do when I run. I look at it, oh, how is it handling on the turf? What's going on the uphills? What's going on now? And so for me, and then by the time I'm done, it's like, oh, I'm done already. Yeah, so I have a kind of a different approach to running than most people do.
So you get in the flow.
I get the
in
flow.
Yeah.
And I look at running as just like a carpenter would be putting a house together, or a piano player playing that song. They're just putting all those little pieces together, and you've got the song. And that's kind of how I look at running. And when I teach running, I really teach it from the pieces, the biomechanics stuff. And if you just do these little pieces, like if you play this scale, those notes, eventually you have a song.
Yeah, I guess it's a new way of thinking about it. I could be doing it wrong and creating more discomfort than necessary, right?
Yeah, you could be. And the old school approach is that it has to be difficult, it has to be painful, you have to go through X amount of suffering to get to the other side.
Yeah.
And when I really started teaching beginner runners, my focus was, if I can teach them these little tricks, they can get past that suffering. And if they can get to over here where it's maybe enjoyable, maybe they'll keep doing it and won't quit. Because, for most runners, there's that big chunk where it's not very enjoyable. You're sweaty, you look terrible, you feel terrible, you're doing all those things, and it's not very conducive. But if you can get rid of that period and go over to here where it's not bad, then you might stick to it. Right? If I could walk up to a piano and start playing, I would more likely probably stick with it, versus going up there and sounding terrible. Maybe I'll try another instrument instead.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way for the people to connect? I know you're on LinkedIn, so
right. LinkedIn would work. Usually, it used to be in the old days. It would be like your website, and you'd hand out a business card. But nowadays, I don't think anybody hands out business cards anymore.
No,
because now you can't touch them. But yeah, I guess LinkedIn would be good. My website, email works good. I guess I'm a huge email person.
Okay.
I haven't learned how to Twitter yet. Maybe someday. So who's that? Angie, who put things on Twitter? Thank you. Good job. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is so interesting because I'm really, a lot of the pirate broadcast talks about mindset, attitude, staying positive, because I believe that kindness is cool and smiles are free for a reason. It's like, I don't want to be a victim of my circumstance. I want to be responsible for my circumstance. I want to be able to take what I have and do the best with what I can. And I think that's very similar attitude with what you're talking about is, we're all starting at a different place in life. We're all starting at a different, our journeys are all unique. So you have to realize that the value you bring to the table is that unique ability for you to get started and do something amazing. So I appreciate the fact that you're here, and I hope that people, if you're not connected, get connected, reach out on LinkedIn and tell them Russ sent you. So, write a note and say, hey, Coach K, Russ sent me. I'm a pirate. I know you're a pirate too. And make those connections, do that outreach and let people know that you're out there and you're looking for a community to improve your attitude, improve your perspective in life. So anything else you'd like to add? Any legacy thoughts that you would like to leave with the community today?
That's a big one. I was just going to ask about the special pirate handshake. So somebody says, yeah, if somebody says Russ sent me, I'll say, well, do you know the secret handshake? Right?
Oh, I have to work on that one. I have to work on that one.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, I think that's about it. I really do think I agree with you that if we can all change our mindsets, you can come home from a hard day at work and still be happy and friendly to your family, instead of coming home and grumpy and go have a beer and watch TV. If we can accomplish that, bingo. Yeah.
Bingo. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate this. I appreciate the conversation. And as always, everyone, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. Go out and make an amazing day today, because, you deserve to enjoy the day. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you being here.
All right. Thank you, Russ. All right.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.